You are most welcome inside the locker room on a Monday morning, an Easter Monday morning. This is Smooth 98.1 Grill of Music, Love Live Station. The Smooth Breakfast is what you are tuned into, beginning your morning and your week on the right note. 17 minutes past 8 a.m. My name is Ayokunmi, and you are welcomed into a world of sporting action. It has been a weekend packed with so much drama and everything in between. And we're here to unpack it all and give you the latest information with a sprinkling of banter along the way. You know how we do it inside the locker room. Thank you once again. You know that I never do this alone. I never share the banter and all the information on my own because the one and only Tega Supreme is in with me on a Monday morning. Good morning to you, Tega, and happy Easter to you.
Good morning. Woo! So let's start. This weekend was a blast for me. My goodness. So the NBA playoffs started this weekend. I told y'all. I told y'all. All right. So it's been wild. But this first round, when we're watching the play-ins and all, this first round is just looking like there's going to be a lot of clean sweeps. That's not good for the NBA. Like the gap between some teams are wicked.
Mm.
Um, last night someone was asking, how did the Grizzlies make it into the playoffs? I said, they went in through the play-ins. That's what happens when you don't pass jam. You come in through another door. The gap is much. All right. So the NBA playoffs started this weekend. I don't know that we'll touch on more stories because nothing happened that wasn't supposed to happen. I expected the Lakers to lose to Timberwolves, and they did. Um, Boston Celtics to win, and they did. OKC to completely blow Grizzlies away, and they did. So nothing dramatic, all right. So that's for the NBA playoffs. Also this weekend, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix that took place. We'll talk a little about that, and then Barcelona Open. Carlos Alcaraz lost in straight sets in a final on clay to Holger Rune. We'll touch on that. Um, what else? What else? What else? We'll also touch on the football that was going on. What is wrong with Inter Milan? Are you okay? But then again, for the neutrals, the Scudetto battle is down to the wire. So,
Indeed.
big news there. So we'll be talking about all the disappointments. Well, not disappointment because I'm really not disappointed. It was entertaining to me. All the shocks. We'll be talking about all the shocks. We'll be talking about all the excitement in the world of sports. And we also want you to talk to us because it doesn't make sense for us to be talking by ourselves. You are important to us and we need you to be a part of this program. So, on that note, Ayokunmi, please tell them how they can communicate with us because it is really important that we hear from them.
Yes, indeed. It is very important that we hear from you. You join us, you share your thoughts on the matter. We talk to you, talk to us as well, back and forth, dialogue. That is how it works. And there are multiple ways to do this, WhatsApp and on YouTube. Now, the WhatsApp number, that hasn't changed. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, the number is 0809 444 0981. 0809 444 0981. That is the WhatsApp number. Now, YouTube, which is where all the fun behind the scenes stuff tends to happen. We are at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. And all you need to do is to leave your comments in the chat box, and we'll be definitely taking them along as we get on with the show this morning. All right, Tega, let's begin our journey in the world of the Fast and Furious, talking about Formula One, where McLaren's Oscar Piastri took his third win of the year and with it the World Championship lead at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We talked about this thing last week. Oh, Piastri
Yeah,
he's not caring about anybody's feelings. Oh.
I say he did not send Lando Norris. It's like, you can be there thinking you have won world championship. I will be here winning the world championship. All right. So we spoke about it, how the McLaren and the fastest car, and it came down to making that lap. Now, during qualifying, the fastest car can set a good time. Like, you know, it's to be expected. But there are some circuits and there are some tire management that it will come down to how well you can position your car. If you're close enough to the fastest car, not
Mm.
necessarily the fastest car. And so this weekend was crazy. So it came down to to Q3, the craziest time. That's how Lando Norris, who everybody was expecting to set the fastest car, crashed into the wall. Oga,
Wow.
you crashed into the wall with your fastest car after wanting to win world championship. So he started in 10th because he made it all the way to Q3, but he crashed into the wall. Then when the session was reopened, because they had to take out Lando Norris's car from the track and sweep the debris. So when they started Q3, George Russell of Mercedes, the McLaren uses a Mercedes engine. So
Mm.
it's just that McLaren is using the Mercedes engine better than the Mercedes is using their engine. And that's why McLaren is the fastest car on the grid. And so George Russell with his Mercedes engine flew to the top of the pile. He took provisional pole. And what we're just like, oh my God, where did that come from? Piastri was like, no. And he went and surpassed George Russell's time. And when we were like, okay, this is what we expected, Verstappen was like, Red Bull is not done yet. And then he went to the top of the pile. So Verstappen won pole on Saturday. But on Sunday, when the lights went out, it was Oscar Piastri that started better. And then he got to the corner and Verstappen now went off the track to overtake him and took the position. As Verstappen, he drives on the edge of the rules, and
Mm.
sometimes he gets away with it. But this time, he's also battling a favorite boy on the circuit, Oscar Piastri. He couldn't get away with it. Not like Lewis Hamilton's daddy that had to work his way to the top. It's different. And saying, oh, when they go low, you go high. Oscar Piastri doesn't do that one. When they go low, we dig for crude. And
I'm
so,
telling you.
and so he went off the track to get the position. And so race control, the stewards now came and gave him. Now, no, they were telling him to give the place back. He refused to give the place back. So race control now, he said they pushed him off the track. So race control now gave him a 5-second penalty. It was because of that 5-second penalty that Oscar Piastri used the opportunity to get back in control of the race, which is what he should have been from the moment he started, the lights went out. And then he led the race all the way to the finish and won. The thing about it is that if Max Verstappen had only given that place back, he should have just allowed Oscar Piastri to pass him back. Just 2 corners from where he allowed Oscar Piastri to pass him back, he would have had DRS to overtake Oscar Piastri back. And then he would have been able to lead the race. So this stubbornness of I must lead the race by force, I must climb somebody's head, is what really cost him the race. Not he didn't need the 5-second penalty. So sometimes it's
Right.
about knowing when to fight for something. It's like what happened to Alonso. Alonso was battling with Bortoleto for some part of the track. He went off the track and took the position. Then he gave the place back to Bortoleto almost immediately. And then just down the road, he overtook Bortoleto again. End of discussion. No 5-second penalty. But Verstappen was trying to prove right. And in the end, he lost. So congratulations to Oscar Piastri. Good drive by Lando Norris, who was able to redeem his race. But ultimately, he lost the Drivers' Championship to his teammates. And the way Oscar is going, in the form that Oscar is going in, I don't think he's going to let go of the championship.
He has gripped it very tightly.
He has gripped it. He's the
Mm.
Alcaraz. He's the Alcaraz to Lando Norris's Medvedev. Let's see how it works.
Let's see how it works. Max Verstappen, in the great words, or in the words of the great man Kenny Rogers, you got to know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to walk away, and when to run. He did not know when to
Thank
do those
you.
things. Mm. All right, and on that note, we keep things moving. Let's talk about tennis. And you mentioned Carlos Alcaraz, Tega. Well, Holger Rune produced a sensational performance to stun home hero Carlos Alcaraz and claim the Barcelona Open title. What happened?
This is first of all shocking. Um, so I would say Holger played the best tennis of his life on the day. Without meaning to take much, he played the best tennis of his life on the day. His court coverage was perfect. He was in good health. Physically, he was there, which is all the things that we expected it to be from the first time we saw him beat Novak Djokovic. Was it 2 or 3 years ago? he played his excellent tennis. He played the net points very well. If you're playing against Carlos Alcaraz, we expect Carlos Alcaraz to be doing better at the net. It was Holgerona that was dominating at the net. If you're playing against Carlos Alcaraz, we also expect him to be dominating at the base line. It was Holgerona that was dominating at the baseline. So he played, without meaning to take anything from him, he played the best tennis I've seen him play in a long time. Carlos Alcaraz, on the other hand, played one of his most error-prone tennis I have seen him play. And I was like, when Carlos Alcaraz gets to a final on a normal day, you have to use mind games to beat him, which is what Novak Djokovic uses. Novak Djokovic knows exactly how to beat Carlos Alcaraz. Just enter his head small, stretch a little, do something, just distract him a little. He gets distracted during matches. So just give him something to distract him, and it will take him a while to bring his attention back. Holgerona didn't do any of that, but Carlos Alcaraz was still making mistakes. And so that's why I had to mention that Holgerona played excellent tennis first, so that I will tell you, so that it doesn't look like I'm taking away from that. Holgerona played excellent tennis. Carlos Alcaraz played the poorest set of tennis. Carlos Alcaraz had the most break points. He didn't break. He had opportunity after opportunity. It's just in the big moments he dropped the ball. So first set went all the way to tiebreakers. It shouldn't have, because Carlos Alcaraz had broken Holgerona early, and then he played one ridiculous game where Holgerona broke him back. Then they got into then they got to 7-5. I'm sorry, 6-5, and he had the opportunity to break Holgerona again. Several opportunities, if I may add. He didn't. Then they went into a tiebreaker. He got a mini break. Holgerona got it back. He got another mini break. Holgerona got it back. Holgerona just got the mini breaks at the right time, and then when it was time for Carlos Alcaraz to extend the tiebreak, it was broken. So it was the big points that Holgerona played better. And he was able to win this. Then they got into the second set, of course. Carlos Alcaraz called for the physio. I did not hear what he was saying. First of all, he wasn't speaking English, so that took that took the interpretation out of me. But I couldn't see where he was pointing. But he went off court to address it, which means that it was higher up somewhere that he couldn't address on the court. But after he came back from that timeout, it wasn't, the errors just became thick and fast, and so Holgerona went on to win the match. The problem is not that Carlos Alcaraz lost this one. The question is, the Real Madrid Masters is coming up next. Is Carlos Alcaraz fit enough to play that? I think that's the question we'll be asking.
That's the question we'll be asking.
He's also won that one too. He's also won that one twice. He's won Barcelona Open twice. He was going for his third title this time. He's also run Real Madrid twice. So he's going for his third title. So Carlos Alcaraz is so young that when you're mentioning what he's done, you're like, this boy is exceptional. Then when you see how he plays so poorly sometimes, you're like, how can such an exceptional guy play this poorly? But hey, that's tennis for you. The other people didn't come there to count the sand. They came there to win.
True story. All right, we're going to take a very quick break right now, and we're going to be talking about Madrid, incidentally, on the other side, as Federico Valverde scored a stunner to save their title hopes against Bilbao. Don't go anywhere. Keep it tuned.
It was well arranged for us to talk about Real Madrid Masters, and then
yes, it was.
And then go to Real Madrid.
I used to enter. I almost said Ernesto Valverde. Almost.
He reached. No. Sometimes I say those things. I was trying to talk about Carlos Alcaraz. So I forgot to mention this. Carlos Alcaraz has 2 coaches. Now, Juan Carlos Ferraro doesn't always travel with Carlos. Sometimes it is Sammy Lopez that travels with Carlos Alcaraz. Every time Juan Ferraro has been with Carlos Alcaraz, he's lost. The titles Carlos Alcaraz has won this year, it was Sammy Lopez that was there without Ferrero. So Ferrero should just stay in his house. Let's see road.
I hear you. All right, let's go back in. All right, welcome back into the locker room. This is Smooth 98.1. Your love music, love life, love sports station as well. It's 32 minutes past 8 a.m. 21st day of April 2025. My name is Ayokunmi, and thank you so much for joining us as we take a look at the great sporting action from over the weekend. Tega also in with me on this one, having a great morning so far. We've talked Formula One, we've talked tennis, we've talked basketball as well. Now let's get into the world of football. We're heading to Madrid, all the way out there in Spain, where Federico Valverde, his superb 93rd minute strike kept Real Madrid on Barcelona's tail in the Spanish title race, earning the champions a 1-0 win over Athletic Bilbao on Sunday.
I'm telling you, they did everything else right and still couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. They thought they'd gotten a goal earlier on the 70 something minute, in the 78th minute, I think, or 79th minute. They thought they'd gotten the goal at that time was correctly cancelled by VAR. And then from nowhere, because that Valverde's goal, see, look, Valverde's goal was a clearance. So Bilbao defender cleared the ball towards him. He stopped the clearance and then hit that goal on the volley. So it literally came out of nowhere. It was not planned. It was not strategy. It was just, I'm here now. Let me take my chance. And he took his chance and the ball went into the back of the net. Prior to that, it would have been 7 points gap between Real Madrid and Barcelona. I know we've been waiting for this La Liga fight. Like, it's coming down to the wire. Barcelona is still beating Real Madrid, and there might be an opportunity for Real Madrid to get some points against Barcelona. And then also on Saturday, it was not an easy game for Barcelona. They were trailing by 3-1. They now came from that 3-1 to make it 3-3. And all the time they were trailing, they were the ones dominating possession. They were the ones creating all the chances. They just couldn't score. And Celta Vigo would just carry the ball and score on the other side. In fact, Bohat scored a hat-trick. And so they were able to get the game to 3-3. And it looked like they were about to drop points before a defender had a brain fart and kicked Dani Olmo, and then Rafinha scored that goal at the end of the match, that penalty at the end of the match. So there are going to be matches where Barcelona could drop points. Real Madrid's job now is to just be in position to benefit. And so after Barcelona had opened a 7-point gap, the way Real Madrid played yesterday, it was looking like they were not going to be in position to put pressure on Barcelona. But Federico Valverde, 3 minutes into injury time, it was like, I have to do some magic. It was literally magic. So it's now still a 4-point gap at the top of the La Liga table, and that puts more pressure on Barcelona. Remember, Barcelona now has Lewandowski injured. There's new reports that he's missing the Copa del Rey and the Champions League against Inter Milan, which is a huge blow. Yes, which is a huge blow. So they are under pressure in the Champions League. They're under pressure in the Copa del Rey because they're meeting Copa del Rey final because they're meeting Real Madrid. And now they're under pressure in the La Liga. Nobody's giving them breathing space. Should they manage to win the treble, this will be the hardest won treble I have seen in a while.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, goodness gracious. What's going on all over Europe? Well, from one title race to another, let's head over to the Serie A, where, as Thanos said, everything is perfectly balanced, as all things should be, indeed. And what I mean by that is the fact that Inter Milan are level with Napoli at the top of the Serie A after Riccardo Orsolini fired Bologna to a last-gasp 1-0 win over the reigning champions on Sunday. Both teams are playing hot potato with the Scudetto.
I'm telling you. So in La Liga, Real Madrid was able to find a magic goal to keep the pressure up. In Serie A, Inter Milan couldn't find a magic goal or a magic defense to keep themselves just ahead of Napoli. Napoli had done the job against Monza. It wasn't pretty. It was one goal. It wasn't pretty. There was one time effective. It looked like it was effective. Monza was going to even score an equalizer in the last minute. I was ready to celebrate that. But Napoli was able to walk away with the win. Then Inter Milan had seen that result the day before. all they needed to do was stop it. And they tried. I won't say they didn't do anything because they had ample opportunity. They created chances earlier on in the game to at least have scored a goal. But they didn't. And then Orsolini was like, let me do what I usually do. That's what has put my name on the transfer market. Orsolini did not mean Inter Milan bad. He doesn't hate them. He probably wants them to buy him too. All he's doing is what his agent told him to do, which is make yourself valuable and I will sell you. That's what Orsolini is doing. He didn't really do it to help Bologna. He didn't really do it to hurt Inter. He did it to help himself.
The game
He's
is
been
the game.
coming up, the game is the game. He's been coming up with these fantastic goals all season. And he came up with this pivotal goal. So right now, tied at the top of the Serie A table, separate only by goal difference, I think. And so Inter Milan has to find a way because they too are under pressure. They are under pressure in the Champions League. And now they have no
Certainly.
breathing space whatsoever in Syria. Napoli have nothing to do except wait every weekend to try and peep Inter Milan. So it's a strange one. It's a strange
Mm.
one.
It's a strange one, but man, it's super exciting what's going on out there in Spain and in Italy as well. Let's bring things down to England. Let's talk about Man United. Ruben Amorim, their manager, admitted that Man United lack a lot after Wolves' 1-0 win at Old Trafford exposed the flaws in his spluttering side. We've seen the flaws since 19 Boboro now, so it's nothing new,
I
really.
don't even understand what he's saying. They lack a lot. By the time they were going to hire you, you would have seen the flaws. Is it today that he knows now that they lack a lot? Today, after playing Wolves. So again, I think it's at this point in time, I don't want to flog I don't want to call it a dead horse, but a horse that has decided that it is not moving anymore. That's what it is. It has decided it's not moving anymore. But it's such a fall off. Again, as much as people say, oh, the players are bad, oh, this. I agree. But when you change coaches and the new coach doesn't recognize that, okay, this is not my team, but these are the tools I have to work with for now. Find a style for now that will do damage control. Because the truth of the matter is, you can't play what you want with the guys that you have.
Mm.
Play what you can. It's like the romance song we always sing. If you can't be with the one you love, love the one you're with. That's you cannot see because I don't understand what you mean by he's trying to instill his style on these players. You are going to sell some of them anyways. Why are you instilling your style? And so there's a way he wants to play. I can see that there's a way he wants to play. But with the players he has, he cannot consistently play that way and win matches. First off, he doesn't have any guy up front like the Greek guy he had at Sporting that's scoring goals. He doesn't have any guy up front that can do that. And so to insist on playing the way you want is, for me, part of the problem. But hey, the season is almost over. The only thing they need to do is
Mm.
survive relegation. The good news for them is that Leicester City has uh, has been relegated by Liverpool. We'll touch on that later on. And and Southampton have been relegated since last year. It just became official this year. But so there's only one spot for relegation, and they are a little bit, just a little bit far away from it. That's the only good news they have.
Mm. That's the only good news they have. Well, I guess I mean the season is more or less
Yeah,
over
it's done.
and
It's
nothing
done.
to play for anymore at this point in time. Let's see how things will pan out for Amorim and United next season when he can start afresh, more or less. All right, let's talk
If
about
they will give him
Liverpool.
money to buy something, this one they're not giving people lunch. Let's see
Ah,
if they'll give him money to buy players.
we pray, we pray. Let's talk about Liverpool, where Trent Alexander-Arnold refused to quash speculation he'll leave Liverpool for Real Madrid at the end of the season after scoring the winner in a 1-0 victory at Leicester on Sunday.
Yeah, it was a tough one. Leicester was trying. Leicester was on life support, but they refused to die. They were trying so hard to not go down, at least not yesterday. But Alexander Trent Arnold also had his points to prove. Some Liverpool fans already don't like him because they think he wants to move. Some are saying, move quickly, please, if that's what you're going to do. They're like Jesus, Judas, if you want to do anything, do it quickly. At this point in time, at this point in time, he's not really part of the fold. And so when he scored that goal yesterday, it was part of the reason why he did that celebration. Took off his full shirt, the full shirt. He didn't even have singlet under, just to show you that he was celebrating. But it's also an emotional moment for a player. You play so well so that you play football, not just at the highest level, but also at some of the best clubs. That's the truth of the matter. So if you're a football
Mm,
fan, you need to understand that. And so if he's moving to Real Madrid, let him move. That's the reason why he played football in the first place. It's his career. If you are the one, you will leave your job and go to one of the best jobs in the world. So why
of
don't you
course.
want that for a footballer? Um, his career people are all doing. And so he scored that goal. It was an important goal because what it meant was it moved Liverpool closer to the day when they can actually have their hands on the trophy because they've won the league. The question is, when are they taking the trophy?
Exactly.
This match, next match, sometime or never. No, not never. Sometime or at
Well,
the end of the season.
well, as it is now, they're just within one win of
One
making
win,
it
yes, of
official.
making it. Yeah. So that's just the question. The question is, when are they going to collect the trophy? It's not should they collect the trophy. So winning that just took them a step closer to getting some good news. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Chelsea, where Pedro Neto scored in stoppage time as they fought back to beat rivals Fulham 2-1 at Craven Cottage on Sunday and breathe life back into their quest to finish in the Premier League's top five and secure a spot
Yes.
in the Champions League next season.
Because Newcastle and Aston Villa have been dragging with Chelsea. Manchester City, not so much, because Manchester City actually needs Chelsea to drop points for them to thrive. But Newcastle and Aston Villa, they've just been trying to go blow for blow. Aston Villa really enjoying the Champions League this season and they want to come back. And Newcastle have enjoyed the Champions League before. They're like, we want to be here. So it's an interesting one. I like the top four battle more than the Premier League battle because the Premier League battle is pretty much usually done early. The top four battle though is what keeps everybody on the toes. But Chelsea needed to do something, and they came up against a Fulham side that had knocked them out of the FA Cup by the same scoreline. And so it was when Chelsea went down to an Iwobi goal early, it looked like maybe Fulham was about to do it again. And my goodness, Fulham had ample opportunity to beat Chelsea yesterday. They didn't take advantage of it. So
Right.
ultimately, Chelsea winning this match um, should hurt Fulham. First of all, London Derby. Secondly, they were playing at home. Third, and this one was the most important one, they had many chances to at least open a good gap between them and Chelsea before Chelsea came back with the equalizer and then with the winner. And they didn't take advantage of that. So good one for Maresca and his boys. They've put pressure, they've put themselves back into the Champions League. Let's see if they're going to be able to stay there. Because this one particular fight is like Royal Rumble, and they're
Mm,
going to fight to the finish.
a very serious Royal Rumble. Let's see how it all pans out at the end of the season.
All
Let's see
right,
if
on
you're,
that day, let's take
yeah,
messages. Let's just take
let's
messages.
take messages. Anyway, Inonoru says, yet another expected 1-0 loss for Man United. A fantastic display from Arsenal to demolish Ipswich 4-0. And then the Remontada Kings, Barcelona making a dramatic comeback to beat Celta Vigo 4-3. Iglesias couldn't believe that his hat trick wasn't enough to win or at least get a point from that match, man. It would pay no collect match ball, but still you lost. Ah, hi. Larry, Larry in the abroad says, Tega, when are we going to the mountain for an intervention for Lewis? Because this Ferrari transfer is looking one kind already. No be by Godfather suit too. Looking forward to how McLaren play off Oscar and Lando as the season goes on. And okay, Larry, yes, concerning the stream, it's actually been worked upon, and I apologize profusely for that one. Bear with us, bear with us. Nathan Njoku says, Pep and City trying so hard to remain in UCL contention. Newcastle brought down to earth by Aston Villa. Chelsea blowing hot and cold at the same time. Man United still giving gifts. Arsenal delaying the inevitable. And Liverpool tired but not out and crawling our way to victory. Vinicius is not special. That's according to Nate. I don't come for you.
Nathan, I'm with you. After they'll go and cry for Ballon d'Or.
Taya says, congrats to Liverpool. The only problem is where to do guard of honor. Arsenal best in second place. And next season, face PSG and conquer them. Christ has risen from the grave of Man United, said, no, we're fine right here. Chelsea with the remontada. Okay, Taya, I'm watching you. I'm watching you. Wilson says, good morning to you, Mr. Ayon, Madam Tega. Bologna is not a small team, or even with one man down, they still managed to beat Inter. Well, we know they're not a small team like that. He also says Chelsea did a job
We know they
against
are fit on
Fulham.
the table, but Inter Milan should have done better.
Indeed, they should have. Okay, you two, let me take a couple of comments here. Abiodi Obishason says 4-2 behind versus Benfica, 1-5-4, 1-0 behind versus Real Madrid, 1-5-2, 2-0 behind versus Atletico, 1-4-2, and 3-1 behind against Celta and 1-4-3. The true remontada kings don't play with Flick's correct team. And Uche Nawokoye says, United with plenty of drama after the 7-6 game with Lyon. We fall back to earth and sad to watch. So we missed relegation because the other three just wanted to go down. We can't act this way next season.
That's true. They can't act this way next season. And the good news is that there's a whole summer, an entire summer for Manchester United and Ruben Amorim to do some transfers. So let's see what they will do on the transfer market. On that note, I want to thank you so much for coming out of your holiday enjoyment.
That's right.
Join us on the locker room. Thank you for your messages. Thank you for tuning in to Smooth 98.1 FM. Rest up, because tomorrow the hustle in Lagos begins. On that note, have a fantastic week.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Tega. Have a fantastic Monday. Looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday. And thank you so much for keeping it tuned to the locker room and to Smooth 98.1. Don't go anywhere. The Smooth Breakfast will continue. 9 o'clock will be time for a conversation on Lagos Talks.